So, 7 business insights worth thinking about. That's the end of the Omaha Steaks history part. So here are the 7 things. People will pay for solutions. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to compute lifetime value. You need to know how to compute lifetime value. Brands of promises, a deep investment, understanding of return on investment kind of ties to the second one there. How to construct and work with databases. These are all the things that I think everyone needs to know today in business. That there's no such thing as too much capital, and that you have to be able to relate to people in person. And this is a big point because, you know, in this sort of mobile-enabled e-commerce world, we tend to think, well, our business is the website. Well, I don't think so. I think it's still about building a relationship, however you can do that. So, solutions save time. So this is actually back to Marketing 101, which is talk about benefits, not features. And I think if one of the benefits of what you have to offer, it will make someone's life easier, then that's probably the #1 benefit you can offer, and you need to figure out how to talk about it. So really, you know, the mistake I see over and over again is people talk about features all the time. Well, it's faster, or, you know, it's got this amount of memory, or it's, you know, it's the biggest one out there, or whatever it is. But you always need to be reducing that conversation down to what does it do for me? And if there's something you can do for me that's going to save time and make my life easier, that's probably your #1 benefit. Customer lifetime value. Everybody needs to stretch their mind to understand what is a customer worth to me over their life. And we figured it out for Omaha Steaks, and our equation is extremely difficult and complicated because our customers buy from us just a few times a year and they spend just a few $100s. So for me my goal is to figure out a way to take that lifetime value stream of profit of that customer, discount it back to the present, and then decide how much I'm willing to spend to get that customer in the first place. Now, if you've got a services business or a subscription type model where you know that if you get that person to buy for the first time, they're going to renew month after month after month and year after year after year, and it's going to be $10,000 worth of, say, lifetime value. You can discount that back to the present, and you can say, well, that's worth $2,423. The net present value function is available in Excel, so you can figure out how to use it. And then you have to decide, well, what am I willing to invest to get that $2,000? Well, you're probably willing to invest, if it's $2,400, I'm guessing you're willing to invest $1,000 to get $2,400 in profit. Well, that totally changes the equation of what you're willing to do from a marketing perspective. You know, if you could do that 100 times a year, then you're willing to go out and pay a high-powered salesperson $100,000 a year to sell your product. But you might not have thought about that. You might have said, well, I could never afford to spend $100,000 for a high-powered business development person. But in fact, you can if you can really understand this. So I urge you to study up on lifetime value. Brand as a promise. Just one of the lessons I've learned in our business is every single time we've let our brand out of our own control, we've always gotten screwed. So, and there's been lots of opportunities to have partnerships and third-party relationships and other things, and it's never worked out the way we wanted to. So the important thing is that once you build some credibility around your business, once you put your own name on the chimney, don't do anything to compromise that. Understanding return on investment goes a little. The customer lifetime value thing I was talking about before is understanding the return on investment of a customer. This is really understanding the return on investment of anything you do in your business, and whether it's a bit of technology, whether it's moving to new offices, whether it's buying a new delivery vehicle, whatever it is. I guess I don't really know what all of your businesses are, but really understanding what every expenditure will drive. And even if you can't put a number on it, forcing yourself to just kind of think it through. Well, is it reasonable if I run this TV ad that I'm going to get 6 responses? you know, whatever the number is. I mean, you work it backwards. You know, it's a TV spot's costing me, you know, $130. My product sells for X. How many sales do I have to get for every spot that I run? Is it reasonable? Is that a reasonable assumption? You can figure out what you need to break even, and then you can ask yourself the question, well, is that reasonable? And if you come up with, well, gee, every spot I run, I'm going to need to get 45 people through the door. I've never seen that before. That doesn't make any sense. Then you know that you need to either pay less or move your marketing in a different direction. I'm using marketing as an example. It could be anything. Databases. I really wish I was starting a business from scratch today. Because if I would be using all of these amazing cloud computing tools and Salesforce.com and all of these web-based business management tools. I wouldn't try to invent it all from scratch because so much of it has been invented already. But the one thing I would realize is that you absolutely have to have the name and address and phone number and email address of everybody that you're transacting with. You absolutely need to know how to track your communications and contacts with them over time. You have to have a purchase history or a customer history for everybody. And all of this is database. It's extremely simple, still not done very well. You know, a perfect example for me, I shop at Von Maur a lot. They don't know anything about me unless I use their credit card, which I don't do. So I go in, they don't know anything about me. They don't, sometimes the salesperson there will make an effort to, write down some stuff in their log because they're a good salesperson. They want to keep track of their customers. But basically, they don't know anything about me. So I never get any targeted promotions from Von Maur where my favorite brands are on sale or anything like that. But they could have that. That would be extremely simple to do. And so, knowing what your customers want, keeping track of it, being able to spit out a mailing list, a contact list. Think about if you had a really good business concept and somebody wanted to buy you. One of your primary assets is going to be that database. If you don't have it, they're like, well, what value do you add, right? There's no such thing as too much capital. My basic advice to entrepreneurs, I actually majored in entrepreneurial management, and so I learned this when I was in undergrad, was no matter what you think your capital requirements are, double them. I might even say triple them today, because if you have access to capital, it'll be a lot less expensive than it used to be. But you can never have too much money, and growth costs money. The worst thing that can happen to a small business with a good idea is that their business takes off and they don't have the capitalization to go with it. So keep that in mind. And the last thing is that we deal with people. So in the internet age, we have a tendency to sort of put that layer between us, particularly with Twitter, with Facebook, with email. But I think at the end of the day, high-touch personal skills are critical to success. And I put this in this context, which is you may not need those skills to deal with your customers, but you probably need them to deal with your suppliers, with your bankers, with other people that might want to talk your business up in the community. You might need it so that you can get in front of a group like this and talk up your idea. So those kinds of skills will definitely be critical at some point in your business life cycle, whether they're customer facing or supplier facing, or even with your team and being able to motivate your team. So thinking about how you cultivate those personal skills and put them to work in all areas of your business is critical. So my last bit of advice to you is don't be a robot, stay human. And that's